All right, everyone, what is going on? You might recognize a special guest here on the channel. So before we get started with today's topic, introduce yourself, please, if you don't mind, to the Boiloners out there. I think that's what we're calling ourselves these days, but I'm not sure.
I like that designation. I'm Dorky Dad, a friend of Boilon. He really helped me kind of grow as a content creator from the beginning, and probably helped push me to become one of the newest envoys. So
Well,
I'm a new content creator.
We did have you on talking about Avengers Tower. I realize that this is not Avengers Tower because we're in a bit of a dark time right now for Marvel Strike
Yes.
Force for a whole host of reasons. Some of those including topics we've already discussed both here on the channel. I think more broadly over the past week or so, including like game stability, bugs, crashes, and now we have something more serious to talk about. As if the current issues being unresolved wasn't enough, we have a problem now with the ongoing Festival of Fortunes, but more particularly it's the Stark Armory portion of the event, which is really impacting all players, but I do kind of feel a lot of casuals maybe are pretty oblivious of what's going on right now. So we're going to touch on this, talk about what's going on in the game and why we should be concerned about it, and the lack of communication by the community managers and the devs about this more broadly. As of recording this, we haven't heard anything particular about how this is going to get addressed, but I think they can't just keep sweeping this kind of stuff under the rug. Anything more to add, Dorky?
Nope. That's that hits a lot of the nails on a lot of their heads. 'Cause there's some sketchy business going around that if you're not aware of it, when you become aware of it, you're gonna be wondering how it could be justified that certain people are getting their rewards that they're getting for this event and you are not.
There you have it. So without further ado, let's get this show started. All right, so we're back here in the events section of the Windows. That went wrong. Okay, it doesn't matter. Anyways, we're here in the events tab. The Stark Armory Stockpile. So as of recording this, we have about 2 days left on this event. And let's talk about what the main issue is here. And I'm first going to go into my milestone here. So me and my alliance, we're not really heavy into this event for a whole host of reasons. We don't. I'm not forcing my alliance to core a lot. I actually am. Well, I have some cores, but I'm also not really in the market to wanting to spend the 750 for some of these orbs. I'm really tempted, actually, to pick up Milestone 3 because there is a lot of teal gear. And I think that's kind of the problem here, isn't it? I mean, like, there's a lot of teal gear up for grabs. And so this issue that we're going to talk about really comes down to, all of this stuff here that's available in this event. That some people, maybe, are getting this a little bit easier than some others who are actually putting in the cores or whatever to get this accomplished. And of course, there is a ranking that's as a result of how well you do in this, which, we've seen this, right? This Armory 16 orb, that's 100 of these at the 1% level. That's crazy.
A lot of teal gear. This
all the way down to 1.
Yeah, all the way down to 1.
It's terrible.
Make no mistake, this event, I made a video on it as well. I hate the structure of this event, but don't be fooled. The rewards in this event are worth the cost that they put on it if you go by scopely evaluations. Now, because of the structure of having to force your alliance to kind of do the same thing that you would want to do for whatever value you personally place on the orbs or on the gear, like Boilon said, he's not having his alliance do it because, I mean, they're friends. They're not workers in the coal mine trying to get it all together, and they have to do it at the crack of the whip kind of thing. But I don't even know where I'm going with this.
So I'll jump in a little bit really quickly. So before we get to the big problem, I just want to talk about the event more broadly. So, I mean, I think there's a huge difference between this event for, more casual alliances than it is for maybe an alliance like yourself, or other top-end alliances who, do push their people or, can even get their alliance to communicate to actually, donate the 100 cores or however many times of the 100 cores that you have to do. That's a bit of a tough sell for me and my alliance, to do that. I'm lucky if sometimes people actually miss out on even their gold donations. So that's kind of the casualness that I'm kind of in right now. So to get them to do even more than that is pretty difficult, despite the obvious, massive rewards payouts that's here. So that's just a start. And there's a lot of people have been talking about sort of the is that a word? Ethicality? People are talking how ethical is this event as an alliance donation structure, because we haven't had one. These happened very seldomly, and really the last one that I can remember, anyways, is of course Lunar New Year this time last year, but that was an alliance-based milestone that caused a whole host of problems too.
Yeah, and I think there was a good reason that they didn't run it more than once a year, and now that it came back, it has the exact same issues that the Lunar New Year had. As far as the sketchy nature behind making the alliance have to do it all together, all organized, and also as far as shady workaround methods go. Now, last year, I don't think there was a ranking section to it,
No.
which actually even makes the problem worse.
Yeah,
much worse.
Well, I mean, last year's problem was that it was an alliance-based milestone, and that you could funnel people in and out of the alliance if you had passed a certain part, and those people could take advantage of that. So that was kind of sketchy, to be honest. And top alliances, I think, were taking advantage of that. I almost wonder if people paid, other people could pay them. Hey, I'll give you $100 to invite me into the alliance so I can claim all these milestone rewards. I forget what was in there. I believe it was an Elite 6, but it was like a random character. Like I forget what that last box was. Like I remember, it was really tough.
I believe it was a non-minion Elite 5.
Oh, was it only
which
5?
At the time was a very big deal. We didn't get as many Elite 5s back then as we do now. And there used to be a content creator who no longer does Marvel Strike Force content, who was actually letting people jump into his alliance to collect it, and then he'd give them the boot.
And well, they never did anything about this, though, did they? I mean, as far as I'm aware, they just kind of let this stuff slide. And that's why
that's not true.
Maybe they compensated the public a little bit. I don't.
Yeah, so I think they said. Now I don't know if this is true. I don't know if anybody got double dipped, but they said people who did it legitly, they sent them a second orb, or it was some kind of. It was a big compensation for that. Basically, if you did it legit, you got twice the amount that people who didn't do it legit got, which I guess is kind of fair in a weird world.
I mean, based on what things have been going on lately, we've had a really low, a lack of compensation, I guess, based on problems in the game, and so I don't know. And we're gonna start to talk about this, exactly what the issue is here, and why I don't see anyone being compensated. And this seems to be like a really bad trend of Marvel Strike Force to be doing this and allowing for these things to happen. And that's what I want to get at, actually. And I'm gonna bring up. Well, what's the best thing? It's probably the prop that I have up here, which is, oh, no, this photo. Where is it here? I got it. This photo here, let's maximize this. So you can probably see this in the background here. This is the first photo that you sent me here. And so let's start talking about what the issue is, because you're probably the best place to explain it to the channel, so I don't screw it up. So let's talk here with this photo here.
So as you see in this photo, this is 10 minutes before the reset. The alliance that sent me this picture, they had already finished their 14K box. You see that bar is just basically, it looks like one donation past the threshold to unlock that 14K box, with 10 minutes left on the donation. And then if you go to the next one.
Yeah, the next one. Yeah, there we go. So this is picture number 2.
This is 2 minutes after the donation reset. So there was 10 minutes left, and now look where that bar is. There wasn't extra donations thrown in to the garbage. Like, nobody's doing the 500 core refresh and then another 100 cores just to do nothing. That is all accumulated from the next day.
So they're essentially double dipping.
I don't know how they're doing it. I don't want to speculate. I don't want to spread that information.
Right. So just so everyone's aware, we're not encouraging that people go out and either find or make use of existing exploits in the game. From what we understand, this has been something that has been an issue in the past that I guess never really got clamped down on, and so that's why it's rearing its head again now in this event, which is something we don't see a lot of because these types of events aren't really that common. So I guess it's not really brought up as frequently as maybe as it should, given the extent of this. But let's talk about why this is a problem, or why you think it's a problem more broadly. I'll admit that when I shared this with my alliance, it's not something anyone really knew about. So I think this is definitely something that's impacting maybe a higher end alliances that maybe are thinking about this a little bit more.
So this is really impacting, I'm not going to use the word honest, I'm going to use the word fair playing alliances who are spending to compete in this event. So what the end result of this is that certain alliances, or at least certain players, are having to spend half as much resource cost to accrue the same, if not more, of these boxes, collecting more of those orbs, getting further along in the milestones, and thus ranking higher on the event ranked rewards. So this event in itself wasn't very player friendly, so people found a workaround, but in doing so, they're working around who I guess they consider an enemy in Scopely, but it's affecting the fair play players, which is not good. That's not fair to our community, if you will.
Right. So I mean, you're saying that you've talked to quite a few people that where this has been an issue, whether or not they're participating in it or not. I mean, but there are obviously people who are participating in this. Now, to the extent of it and how many alliances, we're not going to be able to know the exact answer on this, but without a doubt, they're probably the same people who have been aware of it for some time. It's safe to say that probably, or it's been spread since the first iteration, and then they've decided to do it this time around.
Yeah, exactly. And I almost don't want any of them to come forward, because I don't want them to get punished either. I understand their frustration with pay to play events like this. But I think that the onus comes onto Scopely to make sure that people who are playing fair are getting a fair compensation, as opposed to other people who may not be doing as much. So I think that onus falls onto Scopely, not on players to police each other. I don't think that the community should be at odds with each other over this.
So let's talk about this in respect to the rewards then, because you made a comment about how this would impact the ranked rewards. So, I mean, we see that even between the 1% and the 2 to 5%, that's a lot of orbs. It's like, this is 100, right? So I think this is 60, so that's a difference of 40, actually. Just those quick math. I'm pretty sure that's right, though.
That's about 100. 4 days of 2.3, 100%.
So, I mean, admittedly, the Armory 16 orbs aren't great. I mean, they're like, what, 2 items or something like it. I hate it. It triggers me, actually. But that's not the point here, though. I mean, that's still like 80 mini uniques, right? Between the differences to 2.5% or 2 to 5% and 1% there. Was it? Right. I'm pretty sure the Armory 16
these are Armory 16. No, these are minis.
They give you minis. Yeah, it's only 2 though. Right. So, but that's still like 80 minis between 2 to 5% and 1%. So, that's still a fair margin. And so, how are we going to find out if the people who scored in the top 1% or in the top 2 to 5%, if this was legit or not for those who scored better? And that's something we won't know. But is this something that Scopely is going to come out and say? And that's kind of where we're at, I think, because as of now, we've tried to push this kind of stuff in the Envoy channel, and we, to be honest, I was expecting something to come out by the end of this evening. We're filming this on what day is it? Tuesday evening. We did get the Echo rewards finally. I think most people did, but we didn't hear anything regarding this. They paused the Alliance Milestone for a while, and then the orbs were actually gone for a little while too. I thought that maybe this was something to do with this, that maybe they were trying to fix something, or I don't know. But this is something that they need to get on top of, I think, because it's frustrating a lot of people, and it's just not fair at the end of the day, to allow. I'm gonna call it for what it is. I mean, it's basically cheating. It's the people who, unfortunately, who are taking part in this, whether they like it or not, they are cheating or gaming the system, and I think it's unfair on everyone else, regardless of if they knew about it or not. That everyone's being impacted.
Yeah, I agree. Look, that 1% ranked rewards, what is that? About 3,000 players, right?
In Bliss terms, it's usually about 3,000. I don't know if that's necessarily the case for this, because you'd have to open an orb, though, right, to be counted, I guess.
Oh my god, that makes it so much worse.
So it's actually way lower than 3,000. Then it would be like
there's gonna be a huge portion of the population that doesn't open a single orb for this event.
I don't know if I can really guess, to be honest, because you'd have to open at least 1 orb like I did, because I did claim that first milestone. So at least I'm probably in the bottom here with the 1 orb. So
where did you get your orb? Did you buy the $2 orb?
No, I spent cores. I spent 750 cores. I don't know if I regret it. There was a lot of teal pieces, right? It was like even the first milestone. Yeah. You can see it. Well, maybe they can't, but it's like 46 times 3. There's 3 different origin
a lot.
pieces. It's a lot of teal pieces, so I thought it was worth it. And I'm even thinking about spending cores to get this Milestone 3, because that's 210 teal pieces. You know, as far as the gold value goes on all of these items, you know, gold value, war credits, the amount of, you know, that would take to get this stuff, it's a lot. It's such a crazy event. And so for this to be exploited by people at the top, I'm going to say people at the top, because I think a lot of the people who are probably are people who are aware of this. People likely, and I'm probably going to get some hateful comments in the down below, because there are people who aren't going to want this to be, you know, raised. But it is an issue. Maybe not everyone's aware of it, but, you know, I think it should be. People should be aware of what's going on.
Well, you know what? I was worried before, when I thought the 1% was going to be 3,000, that it was going to skew the fair play players, and now that you bring it up, that if you don't even open one, you're not going to be included in the 100% total here. I am devastatedly worried about this, because there's 5 people in my alliance that straight up said they're done if they don't hit 1%. Now, in their case, they're kind of assuming we were going to hit 1%, because we were all doing 450 cores a day. We were going to finish the milestones. We assumed that was going to be a good 1% benchmark. It will not be able to get out of their heads that people were cheating in this event. And if they don't get it and they quit, I mean, that's a lot of fair play spenders at Scopely's letting walk through the door.
Well, I mean, let's do some hypothetical math here. I mean, if 3,000 would be the top 1% for a blitz, then let's say, I don't even know if this is the case, to be honest, but let's say a third of those people get 1 orb. That means maybe the top 1% is actually 1,000. And, you know, there's 24 people in an alliance, right? So that's 40 alliances, maybe, who could be in the top 1%, potentially. That's really quick, and I don't know if that's even accurate. Maybe 1% is even less than 1,000. It could be like 500. I don't know, because it depends on how many people are actually buying these orbs or getting these orbs. So
well, I know of 5 alliances that straight up told me they were doing this, and I know of about 6 or 7 people that were sending me nasty DMs when I told everyone that I was bringing this issue up. So I expect there's at least a dozen or more alliances who are using this.
Then there's probably going to be a handful more that aren't going to get the top 1%, possibly including yours. And I'd be interested to hear, well, probably find out later, off the video, of course, what we end up getting, or what you end up getting.
My alliance won't exist anymore after this.
And this is a problem. So, yeah, I'm really glad that we got to talk about this, because I think we need to raise more attention on this issue. I think that you just, at the end of the day, need to stay away from an alliance donation milestone. I think that it's just not good for anyone. And like I said, ethically, it's just not a great system for an event. And not only does it pit alliances versus each other alliances versus other alliances, it's just not player friendly at the end of the day. So
there were so many ways to make this a solo player event. We have the, you know, do a donation, our daily objectives. They could have put that ×3 or something to get a certain amount of orbs, whatever they needed to do. They didn't need to tie this into an alliance event. And slapping ranked awards on it just encourages, you know, competition, win at all costs kind of mentality.
Yeah, it's not great. Well, I was going to leave the last... Was that your last words? Or we'll give you the last words again, because I think I'm done. Obviously, my alliance isn't competing that much in this event, but I think that for those other people who are, or who are even considering opening any orbs at all, really, I mean, should be concerned about what's going on here.
Well, let me ask you guys, would you? If instead of spending 450 cores a day, you only had to spend 200 cores a day, and you get all the milestones, would you have been more inclined to do so?
Yeah, absolutely. But, I mean, whether or not I could actually get all 24 of my alliance members to do something similar, I don't know. Because that's the part that's kind of hard for me. But, you know, for other people...
What if you can get 10 people to do it, and you would at least get...
I probably could have, actually. I probably could have got, like, half my alliance to do it. So, yeah. Clearly, we missed out. But, you know, I don't participate in this kind of behavior, and I also don't encourage anyone else to do that. But for those of you who are... Well, there's a special place for you elsewhere, unless you were forced to do so. But anyways...
I don't hate you guys, I just hope Scopely makes it right for the third
Absolutely. So, you know, I think that they need to do better, both in terms of the events that we get in this game, and how they just handle this kind of problem. And so, I don't know...
There's an integrity problem. Yeah, there's an integrity problem at Scopely, and they need to fix it for events like this.
It's more of a fundamental issue, I think, at this point, and I don't know where we go from here. Obviously, there's a lot of ongoing problems with the game itself. Hopefully, we can get some resolutions in the next few days, or even by the end of this week. But I'm not gonna count my chickens before they're hatched. I think I said that right. Okay. So, last word, Dorky.
Hey, thanks for having me on, Boyle.
There we go. So thanks, Dorky, for coming on the channel to talk about this. And of course, for everyone else, stay safe, healthy, and now we added sane to it because this shit is crazy lately. Boilon and Dorky Dad signing out.